Welcome back to the Tier Analysis Podcast. I am Jelani Kelly.
I'm Evan Westman.
And we're going to talk about Space Jam, the 1996 movie with Michael Jordan, co-starring Bugs Bunny. Yeah, this movie, the premise was, oh man.
Yeah.
I don't know how it was made. But Evan hasn't seen this movie since he was 4, and I made him rewatch it.
I don't know if that's exact. Like, to say that I've seen this before, technically, I don't know how much I saw it as a young kid, but I know, like, the oldest I would have been the last time I saw it was probably 5. So I remember basically nothing from it. Like, we never owned it, but I think it was something we got out of Blockbuster, like, a few times back when that was still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there were only 3 shots that I remembered, and not all of them were correct. I remembered Michael Jordan dunking a 3 with all the Monstars holding onto his legs.
It was a half-court shot. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I remembered it from a different angle. I did not remember that he turned into a cartoon and dunked it during that shot. That didn't stick with me.
Wow, that didn't stick with you.
I mean, it was a long time ago. Like,
it's probably the weirdest shot in the thing, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, I remembered it being, like, from a different angle, like, him flying forward and, like, all of them grabbing onto him one by... I mean, it's actually, like, pretty similar, my memory of it, to what it happens, but it looked different in my head. I had a memory of Tweety Bird cutting a hole into somebody's stomach. I thought it was Taz with scissors. So that shot actually isn't in it, but I think the one that, like, made me think that was in it was, I think, somebody shoots Sylvester, the cat, in the stomach, and then Tweety Bird flies through it. Like, I half remembered that one. And then I remembered Michael Jordan getting pulled through the golf hole by a magnet. But aside from that, it was all new to me. Or not, well, like, I remembered having seen this, but basically it might as well have been my first time.
Okay. Other initial reactions?
I mean, I kind of wanted more Looney Tunes and less Michael Jordan, but there is a good balance between the two of them. Like, it's about half and half. This is not a critique of, like, well, no, this is a critique. Too much Daffy Duck, not enough Yosemite Sam. There should have been way more Yosemite Sam in this. He has always been my favorite Looney Tune.
What?
Yes. I've watched a lot of, like, mostly the, like, really old Looney Tunes, and all of the best ones are the ones with Yosemite Sam.
I mean, I won't argue that, but that's actually I don't hear conversations about who people's favorite Looney Tune are. So I mean,
Yosemite Sam's just the best, so it doesn't even need to be a conversation.
Okay.
But yeah, too much Daffy Duck, not enough Yosemite Sam. I forgot how much of it wasn't the basketball game. Like, there's just so much extra stuff that again, no memory of that. It felt like there was a little bit more, like, plot than there needed to be, but I guess that sort of makes sense. I'll get into that a bit later.
I was enjoying it and then, like, before I knew it, we were at the basketball game. I was like, oh, we're halfway through the movie. Look at that. I didn't even realize the movie's an hour and a half still. Like,
I think it's less. I think it's like 85 maybe. It's really short.
Yeah, but still, like, I love this movie. Go ahead.
There's a lot of emphasis on Michael Jordan, like, everyone's saying he should go back to basketball instead of playing baseball, which, for what it's doing, kind of makes sense, but I was also like, I don't know. It's weird that they emphasize, like, they have him start as, like, during his MLB period. Like, so maybe you know this and maybe you don't. Was he in the MLB, or, like, was he in baseball when this was made, or had he already moved back to basketball?
So I don't remember. It was in the last dance documentary. I'll get into that. It's kind of a topic on its own. But I can't say I remember. I watched that when I should have been sleeping. So it was either he had already decided to come back and this film had something to do with, like... Because I remember there being... Well, I don't want to get too much into it. long story short, I don't remember.
Okay. That just,
Mm.
I think they made it work. It was just odd that they did that. I
Hmm.
thought, not really a bad thing, just odd. This is sort of a nitpick, I guess, but like the whole stakes of the movie is like that the Looney Tunes are going to be enslaved at an amusement park. And like, how different is that than real life Six Flags? Like,
What?
I don't know. That just seemed like a weird inconsistency to me. Like,
The Six Flag enslave its employees?
no, but like the Looney Tunes are like the whole Six Flags is like all Looney Tunes stuff. And then like the whole thing is they're like, "Oh no, we're going to like go to an amusement park." But I'm watching it like
Oh,
you got like that's already happening. So like is like it doesn't feel like it's trying to say anything about like the fact that that is basically what Six Flags already is. That was
was Six Flags a thing in '96? I don't know.
I don't
It's a
either.
really dumb question, but
I
we'll
would
see.
think it was. I feel like it must have.
I
I'm almost sure
I
it
think
was.
so
Maybe they
too.
didn't
But
have as
I
much
remember
like
they.
Looney Tunes branding back
I
then.
think they had '90s commercials too.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't alive in '96, so I can't speak to it. But Six Flags very much uses Looney Tunes in like all its branding now. So that
Okay,
just
founded in 1961. Yeah, well before the '90s.
okay, yeah. So I don't know. It's just an ironic thing that like that's what they're petrified of, and yet that basically is like their biggest real world presence is being at an amusement park. But yeah,
Is
that's
it?
my initial reactions, and I think you're planning to get into this, but like I do want to know because like I don't have that nostalgia for it, like why you love it. I'm not asking that rhetorically because I like it, but because I don't have that nostalgia, I don't think I can. It doesn't hit on the same level for me as I would expect it does for you. So I just want to hear you talk about that.
I'm gonna answer that after I wrote down some re-initial stuff because I've
Okay.
seen this before, but it's been a couple years. Shit, a pretty long time before I've seen it. Last After watching the Last Dance documentary, some stuff in the beginning hit different. Like I remember seeing some of those clips in the documentary used for the beginning of this movie, like him hugging the trophy, for example. Oh, there was a he. Mike said a quote. He said, "You guys shouldn't watch this stuff. It's bad for you." And then he put on Looney Tunes, one of the most violent cartoons
Yes.
ever,
Do you remember what he
without
switched
blood.
it from in that
It
scene?
was from the news. It was the news guy
Oh,
making fun of him with his swinging batting average. Yes, that's I don't know baseball. His batting average, and I guess 2.65. I think he said. I think that's bad. And then the guy just kept
wait.
making fun of him.
265 is not a bad average.
Oh, yeah. The guy said it
I
was
mean,
bad.
maybe it wasn't that, but 265 is like decent.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. I think that was the joke, but even if they weren't aware of, I have a feeling they were aware, like of him saying you shouldn't watch this, it's bad for you, and then put on Looney. I feel like it was funny either way. I just like that
Yeah.
line. I like how they use same voice actors for multiple characters. I looked at the X-ray for many points during the movie, and like Bugs Bunny was also not Porky Pig. I don't know. A lot like they were using like the same three guys for a lot of the Looney Tunes, and I kind of like that because the original Looney Tunes were all voiced by Mel Blanc,
Yeah.
I believe. So yeah, that was cool. Also, Maureen Ponderosa from It's Always Sunny. I think she was the blue alien. I didn't know that, like the small version of the blue alien.
I
It's a
don't
little
watch
fun
Always
fact.
Sunny, but I do love that blue alien.
Yeah,
He like I again didn't remember the aliens. He was maybe one of my favorite characters in this, including all the Looney Tunes.
and Yosemite Sam. Hmm.
I would say Yosemite Sam, but he's barely in it. That's the problem. Like
I mean, he
is
shoots somebody on the court.
yeah, but like he never gets to do like the things that I love to see Yosemite say. Like he never gets all turnt like he does in the cartoons and like tries to set traps for Bugs Bunny. I know that's not what like they shouldn't have devoted that much time to it, but I wanted to see more of him.
Hmm. Bill Murray and Larry Bird casually just left Mike on the golf course once he got sucked in. Like, I guess that makes sense, but I don't know what other reaction would be warranted if your friend got sucked into a golf hole. Like,
I think there's a lot of other reactions that
do
could
you
be
wait for him to come
warranted.
back? They had no reaction once, so they were just like, huh, look at that. And then they went back home. Like, Michael Jordan's your friend. Okay. Remember my last note, like I normally say with movies with my initial reactions, I normally like not give up, but just start actually paying attention to the movie like once I get around halfway through it and stop writing notes. But my last note was why was Lola added to the movie at all?
Fair
Her
point.
personality was just hot to all the Looney Tunes. It's about the extent of it. And then
Yeah, I mean,
also,
she's
yeah, go
new
ahead.
for this. I think. Like, I mean, I know she's not
Yeah,
in
she
the
was.
older
Yeah,
ones. I guess she's gonna be in the sequel. I know,
she
or
was
at
also
least it
in the Looney
looks
Tunes
like it.
show. Funnier version of her, voiced by Kristen Wiig, and I'll get into that a little bit later too. Also, I believe she's one of the reasons for the whole furry thing.
Is there a whole furry thing?
Do you not know what furries are, Evan?
I know what furries are. I don't like. I'm aware they exist.
Oh boy, oh
You
poor
just the way you're talking
innocent
about it sounds
Evan.
like there's more to it than I
Oh,
assumed.
Evan, you have so much to learn about the internet. We're gonna move on though, as to
Okay.
why I love the
Um,
movie. Essentially nostalgia, like we've already stated. Um, I was in the house I'm in now, but in a different, smaller room with my brother, and we only had, I don't remember if it was just a PS2. I don't think we had a PS2 in that room, or a DVD player for digital entertainment. Like that was it. Like everything else we did with our imagination, or drew, or had to read. Well, at least at my mom's house. We had access to a small list of DVD movies at my mom's house. Much like the DVDs I've mentioned on family nights we had at my dad's house, but like I said, a smaller list. And we would watch, of course, watch multiple movies a couple of times while we played with toys, and would leave them on for background noise. And then once they ended, we'd restart them and continue playing with our action figures and all that. Occasionally stopping to look up at parts we enjoyed. And this was one of those movies we would play on repeat. And over the years, the movie list grew. We moved from our room downstairs to upstairs. We had more room, but this movie is one of the movies that always stuck with me. I don't know where the DVD is. I really hope I didn't sell it, because it was a garage sale we had where we sold a lot of our childhood stuff. And I hope Space Jam was not one of the ones we sold. I think we sold Shrek 1 and 2
oh,
from my
for
mom's
shame.
house. Yeah, I'm sorry. But I don't think we sold. I don't know. There's a whole bin in the basement. That's how I watch Devil Wears Prada. There's a whole bin in the basement full of movies. I don't know if our movies are down there. I think one of the reasons is because I watched it a whole lot more because we didn't have a copy of this movie at my dad's house. So we couldn't watch it there on family nights, unlike movies like, I guess, like Mike. I think we had that at both houses. That's another basketball movie for you uncultured people. That was in the 2000s, featuring the rapper Bow Wow. And the Spider-Man trilogy, we had that at both houses too. Even though I've seen those more than enough times, all of them. It was just what we had at the time, Evan. Don't get mad at me.
No,
Um,
I won't judge. Yeah.
and I think even back then I knew how cheesy it was, but I didn't care. So my brother and I would like quote random lines and laugh at how silly everything was. We kind of still do. Like at how silly Wayne Knight's performance is. The whole movie is it's silly, but he was pretty funny.
It's silly, but it's sincere too, and it's
Sincerely silly.
but it's not like trying to be, I don't know,
Serious.
sarcastic about anything.
It knows what it is.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not like ashamed of it. Like I'll talk
Mm-hmm.
about that a little bit when I get to my main topic with this, but I think cheesy, fair assessment, but I think you could just as easily call that sincere.
Mm-hmm. And I also love it because it's something I know my mind can't be changed on. Like if you think it's a bad movie, I'm aware, but like I won't stop loving it because of that. I'm aware it's a bad movie. The ratings weren't too nice on it, but I could care less. This is one of the movies my mind can't be changed on. Trying to explain bad things about this movie would pretty much be like talking to a brick wall with me. Like I'm aware of all of its flaws. I just don't care. And also the music. You just messaged me before we started recording that you were listening to Fly Like an Eagle.
Yep, and before that, I was listening to the main one, the Space
Come
Jam
on and
theme.
jam and buckles.
Yes,
Yeah, come on and slam. Yeah. Yeah, that got me hype every time with the
that's that's
yeah.
such a great song. Like, I
Come
don't think I'd
on,
listen to it
bro.
all the way through in years. Like, I you hear it at sports games a lot. Um,
Everybody get up. It's time to
yes, like
slam.
that Welcome to the Jungle and Crazy Train are at like every sports game ever.
Yeah. Yeah, the music is
It's
I'm
pretty
not
solid.
yeah. So, the premise. I'm gonna have you start and I'm gonna just throw in my points in between.
Sure. But when was like getting ready for this, I had a really hard time coming up with topics because I was kind of like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you have the Looney Tunes playing basketball with Michael Jordan. You don't really need more than that. Like, it just delivers on that. And, like, not to say that there aren't, like, good storytelling devices used, but nothing, like, stands out. So, like, the main thing that I feel is like a takeaway for like something that you can learn creatively from this is like, what do you do with a great premise? The main thing I would say is just exploit it, like deliver on what you're promising. So
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of mentioned this at the very beginning, but like there's a lot of the movie that's not them playing basketball, but
Mm-hmm.
it does deliver on it. Like the last 20 minutes is like all Looney Tunes and Michael Jordan playing basketball, and it's like as good as you would hope it would be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing. The premise itself is just like, I mean, I don't know who came up with the idea, but like it's just kind of perfect. Like Michael Jordan plays basketball with the Looney Tunes. Like if I wish this had come out a little bit later, because like if this had come out when I was like 8 or 9, it would have been like maybe not with Michael Jordan, with like somebody who is, I don't know, if the Looney Tunes played baseball with Albert Pujols or something, like
I
that
have
would have
no idea
been
who that is.
the, for real. You don't know who Albert Pujols is?
I told you I don't know. I know Babe Ruth. I know Derek Jeter.
Okay. Um, Well, when we
That's
finally
that's
do
it.
Moneyball, that's going to be interesting. That's the only
Yeah.
sports movie I have any intention of talking about. Just like your favorite athlete and your favorite cartoon characters. Like, if you're 8, how is this not your favorite movie? Like,
Right.
if you were like under 10 when this came out, it's like the greatest thing ever. I thought, like, just a couple ways they could have exploited the premise better. Like, why not have a montage of them practicing instead of like the couple
Yeah.
scenes where they go back and find his shorts, or like some of the stuff with the Wayne Knight character? I forget
Mm-hmm.
the guy's name.
Stan Podolak.
Yeah, that guy. They definitely go all out with the final game, but like I feel like you could have a fun training montage in there that they didn't
I
do.
mean, Michael Jordan did one by himself.
Right, but
Like
that's
he.
like that's all like real clips. Like I want to
Yeah.
see
Yeah. I know.
him
Mm-hmm.
training the Looney Tunes for the big game,
Mm-hmm.
or them just like training themselves. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that would be good enough. In that sequence where they have Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck go back to get his shorts, like it is good that they are the ones to go back. Like I don't love that whole side plot or that those couple scenes where they do that, but it's better than having Michael Jordan go back. When he goes into Toonland, he stays there, which I think is good. Because, like, if not, like, we aren't watching this to see Michael Jordan exist in the real world. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the fun of it. You know, in terms of, like, just fundamental writing things, it does, like, some of the real basics. Like, there are stakes, there are goals. Michael Jordan basically has an arc. It's a not a very deep one. Like it's just all right, like get him to play basketball again. Cool. And like at first I was kind of like, oh, they probably could have done something better with that. But like the past couple days I've been thinking about it, and it's like, you know, he's a real guy. You don't want to do anything like too emotional with him, I guess, as like a real person. And also
Mm-hmm.
like his acting range is limited to say the least. So to have him do anything like,
To be fair to him, I don't think he's acting against anybody when he's in the Looney Tunes thing besides like when Stan shows up. Like I think his acting, and I'm probably just have the nostalgia goggles on, but I think his acting gets the ever so slightest better when he has actual human people to talk to, because I think he was just acting against pretty much nothing, or like green screens and no actual actors. Because I saw some behind the scenes footage of him, and there was not much of it. It was like 2 clips I could find. Him being surrounded by like 5 green people, which I guess were supposed to represent the Monstars.
Yeah, and like, I wouldn't expect him, like, he's an athlete, so you don't
Yeah.
expect, like, anyone who's ever seen a Subway commercial knows that athletes can't really act. But like, that's why I think it was better to have
I just saw 2 Subway commercials yesterday. Sorry. It was like the guy said beast mode, and he was on the football field doing something, and then it cut to him saying feast mode, and he was munching on a Subway sandwich, and that was the commercial. It was like, if this does not get off of my TV screen right now, I'm punching through it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Fair. I mean, Subway, I think there's worse than Subway, but like, I was just saying that because they always have, like, Michael Phelps has been doing ads for them for like the past 15 years now. So anyway, I think it was good that they, or I think it was okay that they don't do anything too much with like giving Michael Jordan an arc, because that's,
Can you imagine this movie had drama in it?
yeah, Michael Jordan doing some big like monologue at the end. That'd be rough.
Even in the beginning with him saying he was switching to baseball, that was like, oh, you're switching back, cool. Right.
Yeah. Well, but at least that's like in context of like him in the real world. Like that, and like it's a press conference. It's at least something he does in real life. I think that worked well. And I don't know that it would have been my instinct to like go small on the arc, but I think it was better that they did. Big plus for the premise, you can just feel a lot of love for both IPs in here. Like, the people who made this clearly love Michael Jordan, love the Looney Tunes. And that makes like a big difference. Because this is kind of a weird thing to compare to, especially because it's not even out yet. But like, I don't expect to have that sense for the Godzilla versus Kong movie. Like, that's kind of another thing that's mashing 2 IPs together in a very literal sense.
Ha!
I haven't seen any of the things leading up to that, but I just, without seeing it, what I'm imagining that movie to be is like just not something that really is drawing from what people love about those characters. And I don't know what that would be. Like, I haven't seen any of either of those 2 monsters movies. But like, again, to compare to Space Jam, like, what do people really want out of Godzilla versus Kong? They want a big fight scene between the 2 of them. Right. And if it delivers on that, it's going to be fine. Like, people are going to love it. Or maybe not love it, but
they want the humans gone. A lot of people want less humans.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's kind of a weird thing, because like nobody wants that in there, and yet you still feel like you have to build a movie or like something that resembles a regular movie around it. But really, all anyone's there to see is just like the 2 of them beating the crap out of each other.
Right, but they can't like make it like a UFC fight, or maybe they could.
I think they might as well do that. Like, I mean, if I got assigned to write Godzilla versus Kong, I would probably try to do, like, at least make some kind of story out of it. But if I were,
build it up, that's the main event. You got the preliminary matches with, like, Batman versus Superman. And
Right.
What are some other verses? Scott Pilgrim versus the World,
Well, in that one, though, he's fighting a bunch of people.
I know, Evan, it was... Damn it, Evan.
Sorry for killing the joke. Yeah, that is true, though. It doesn't deliver. He does not fight the entire world or the universe in the graphic novel.
Yeah.
for Space Jam, like I think it's something that would work. It might not work as well to take out all the like build up to the game, but
Hmm.
I don't think anyone would care that much if it was gone. Like it has its moments, but mostly we're just there for the game.
I wonder what they're gonna do for 2. Why are they making it 2? I don't know why they're making it 2.
Because everything's getting rebooted now, and this is, I mean,
This is a sequel though. LeBron James this time with like Klay Thompson and some other basketball players. And
I
then
mean,
Looney Tunes again.
it's
Lil's coming back too in that.
I think even some that maybe aren't in this. Like I just watched the like promo for it a couple
Hmm.
days ago. I think there might be a couple of Looney Tunes that aren't in this Space Jam that might have made a quick appearance in it. But
Like
I'm not.
Yosemite Sam.
I mean, for the amount he's in this movie, yeah, I want there better be more of him in the sequel. But I think it was someone else. Yeah, I mean, big lesson is like, don't be afraid to mix your IPs like this. But like, if you are going to be true to them and don't like, sort of another counterexample, like the Transformers movies, like Michael Bay does not feel like he likes Transformers in that. He just likes explosions.
Hmm.
And you can tell when you're watching that. Like this,
Man, that first movie though, I got nostalgia for the first one.
I would take the third, but I think if you're looking at it from like what is the better one, yeah, the first one's better, but the third probably has the best action, which is kind of the only thing I would
Like
care
the
about with it. It's
apocalyptic
still a trash
stuff.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that final battle in Chicago is actually like if you want to turn your brain off for 45 minutes, it's some good explosions. Um there's just a you can tell that this was made with care and respect for the source material.
Hmm.
And like I think that's something that can be like carried over into other things.
Hmm.
Yeah. And like sometimes last point with this, sometimes two things that like aren't obvious combinations can work well together. This is maybe one of the few examples of that, but maybe also don't try to force it. Like,
Like ketchup and mustard,
yeah,
or
maybe ketchup and mustard.
fire and ice,
Yeah.
mayonnaise and Jello.
Yeah, the Mummy and those other things that Universal was trying to do before they
Oh
stopped
boy.
trying. What else were they even like? Did they even have any others in
I,
that dark universe?
listen, I don't.
I feel like maybe that Victor Frankenstein movie was that them with
I don't know.
what's his face McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe.
I don't
Was
even
it
know what
them?
you're talking about.
It went kind of under the radar, but that feels like it might have been. If there was anything else that was in the dark universe, I think it might have been that. Anyway,
Mm.
this is a great premise, and they didn't screw it up. So, props.
I already said I agree with the practicing idea. Some people have complained about the product placement. They were like, "This movie just one big commercial." I was like, "Well, yeah, it was kind of based off of the Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan commercials." But okay, he said like product placement was all over, but like there was that one product placement line with Wayne Knight that was actually kind of funny, where when he knocked on MJ's door and he said, "Put on your Hanes, lace up your Nikes, grab your Wheaties, and we'll pick up a Big Mac on the way to the game."
Yeah, that was just like too perfect. It was like, wow, you just went all like as many products in one sentence as you can.
And I didn't know until after I watched it, or I didn't realize like that those are all things I believe Michael Jordan has like is still endorsed by or was endorsed by at some point. There was a couple of videos I saw on this. I saw the honest trailers for it. It was one of the people used the same clip of Wayne Knight saying those. First of all, that's a really cool name, but using that same clip of the thing, and I was like, I think that was the joke, the putting all the product placement right there. But okay, I saw a Nostalgia Critic video. I saw both actually, because he had one like years ago where he first reviewed it and he hated it, but then he did like a quote unquote fanscription video where he was trying to improve the movie by giving Lola a personality besides hot, and he
Oh, so
changed
he
some
was like
things.
rewriting it, kind of.
a little bit, and he gave like her and even Michael Jordan an arc, or I guess a better one, making Lola much like the Looney Tunes show version voiced by Kristen Wiig. I actually really like that, the Looney Tunes show. My brother and I found that funny. I wouldn't be mad at it, and it took me a second to like, it took me a second watch to get past the voices given for the fanscription, because they were kind of cringy in my opinion, but they had to work with what they had and who they had, so I'm not mad at them. I saw a lot of people in like the comments wanting the best of both worlds, like keeping Lola's alluring nature from the first one, but making her, well, funny for Space Jam 2. So, nobody knows what we're gonna get. We don't even have a proper trailer yet. Let's move on. A couple more topics. Impact. There's shockingly, and I said this before, there's not a whole lot to find on YouTube on this. Not even videos talking about. I think there was one video, I didn't watch it though, about how crazy the premise was on, how the movie was executed and all that. Like, also there was like little to no behind the scenes footage besides the thing I mentioned before, Michael Jordan being guarded by the dudes in the green screen suits. So there was an honest trailer for it, and it was the number 3 movie requested by the fans for movies they hadn't done up until that point.
Yeah, I watched too many honest trailers. I think I watched that at least twice preparing for this. I should have maybe mentioned, that was another thing that, like, I saw that in between, like, before rewatching it. I had seen that, so I knew a bit about it. I was at least prepared for a couple things, like the whole Stan thing. Like, I knew he was in it from that.
And the last thing I had for Impact was Furries and Lola Bunny, and that's it.
So when you say impact, you're talking about like the cultural impact, like how we...
Yeah, like the world, how we perceived it outside of the movie and all that, yeah.
I mean, I'd never really gone looking for videos on it before this week, but I think it's just like sort of resistant to the like modern YouTube film culture. You can't do like Space Jam Explained or like 101 things or I watched Space Jam on 0.25 speed and saw this. Like, there's nothing like that in this. It doesn't feel like you could do anything with that, which I think is kind of a sign of the time, because you make something now, and as soon as your movie comes out, there's 50 videos on it before it's even released. And like, if it's a decently big thing, but 96 is just like, all right, bring your kids, enjoy Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes. That's why, like, or I guess it's not why, but it will be interesting to see what happens with this sequel, because like it is coming out in such a different time.
I think it's this year.
I think it is. I don't know if we have a release date, but it's in the it's on that HBO Max just did a trailer for like all their stuff that they're putting out.
Mortal Kombat, bro. I cannot wait.
Oh, I didn't even
Sub-Zero.
Notice that.
He had the ice. He's the one that made like the ice thing in the clip. Oh, bro.
That just went over my head, because I'm excited for a few other things in that list, like mostly Dune, but I'm seeing Dune in theaters. Like, you can't see Dune on HBO Max. Like,
risking the virus, I respect it.
I mean, I go with masks. Like, I've only been, since COVID started, I saw Tenet in theaters twice, and then Inception once when it was replaying near me.
Oh God.
I had to. It was on my bucket list. I've never seen it in theaters until this year. Like, and also,
that's different.
I was the only one in the theater, or maybe there were like 2 other people. Like, there was nobody there, and it was awesome.
I think that says something about the movie. I'm kidding.
Screw you.
I'm kidding.
In regular times, it was sold out.
Well, yeah.
It will be interesting to see what they do with the sequel, because like, it's gonna have to deal with such a different response, and I kind of hope they go more with like trying to keep the spirit of this, but I kind of suspect that they won't.
I suspect a lot more product placement and bad acting.
Yeah, You know what I wonder though? Like, how are they going to deal with the premise? Like, I think I read a log line where like they're going to play against like an AI. I think
What?
because as soon as I heard sequel, I was like, how are they going to get the Monstars back, or are
That's what
they?
I thought. Like, are they just gonna do the same thing? LeBron James goes to baseball.
Yeah, yeah. What are they going to do with that? Like, that's yeah. And like LeBron, just like no shade to LeBron, but I feel like he just doesn't have the same like presence as Michael Jordan. Like, I
You
probably
mean
shouldn't speak too
on-screen
much on
presence
it.
or?
Just like place in pop culture,
Mm,
like he seems like, from my untrained eye, as good of a basketball player. There's definitely
there's
debates out there,
debates. Yeah, no, there's a never-ending debate.
but he just like, don't take my use of this term the wrong way, but he seems like less of a kid friendly presence. Not to say that he's like a bad influence or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but Michael Jordan, just like the way that he's dealt with in this, is like, oh, Michael Jordan would be like, he could show up at a kid's birthday party and that would feel natural.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas like I don't feel that vibe with LeBron in the
Mm.
same way, which isn't like to say that they
Yeah, that's
can't
not.
do it in,
Mm-hmm.
like they can't have him be like that in Space Jam too,
Mm-hmm.
but like this movie relies so much on who Michael Jordan is and like how big of a deal he was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not quite the same as like the kind of big deal that LeBron is, from what I know
Yeah.
of it.
Imagine. So like Michael Jordan was big, like 80s and 90s, like huge, most one of the most known people on the planet. Like, and that was without the technology we have today. So imagine like if that happened during these times. I wonder what would change about it. But that's a question for like another time. But
Yeah.
do you have anything else for impact?
I mean, if we're talking like cultural impact, I just this past weekend saw someone with a Toon Squad jersey.
Well,
Like, and
there you go.
that's certainly not the only time I've seen it.
Oh, and I've seen in the one of the basketball games I play NBA, in I think it was 2K20, you can make like a team and there are downloadable like jerseys and like outfits you can get for the team you make. And Toon Squad is one of the repeating themes for like downloadable things. Like I'll scroll through the thing and I'll see a couple of Toon Squad ideas that I can download and I'm like, yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing, like, I don't know for sure. I think it may have, like, kind of gotten our generation into Looney Tunes a bit. Like, this might have been the first exposure I had to Looney Tunes. As I said, it was, like, a really long time ago, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
quite remember, but I don't remember seeing any Looney Tunes before this.
Mm-hmm.
So that may have been an impact. And, like, the fact that there's a sequel coming out kind of speaks for itself, I think. Like, it was big enough that they feel like they can reboot it and make money. So
Right.
that says something.
I think whether it's bad or not is gonna make money, which is why I think they're doing it.
Yeah,
Cause I'm gonna watch it. So
I probably will. I might not pay for it, but I'll I'll see it just to see what it is.
I mean, do you have HBO Max?
Yeah, of course.
There you go. If that's it for Impact, let's get on to sports movies. So with all sports movies, for what I've seen, they can all only end in one of three possible ways. Protagonist wins, the protagonist loses, or it ends in a draw/tie, depending on the sport, of course. And for the kids' movies, I've seen like this, like Mike, the Karate Kid, with Jaden Smith. I've never seen the original Karate Kid, Sumi. The protagonists win in the end, but with sports movies catered towards an older audience, it sometimes like feels like it's up in the air. Like for example, the movie Coach Carter, another basketball movie I love. I saw it on. It was on, and I think I'd heard the name before, and I saw Sam Jackson was the lead, and I just sat and watched it one afternoon. That was a really good movie. Spoiler alert, though, the protagonists lose in the end, and then there's like the whole documentary-esque aspect to it, where it's like this person went on to be a military guy, and this guy went off to college and now helps in children's hospitals. Because I didn't know until the end it was based off of a real movie. Like I said, with adult movies, it seems like the ending can be up in the air. You're really hoping for the win. And I know they still make sports movies. Like, there was one with Ben Affleck recently. I forget the name of it.
I think it's The Way Back.
The Way Back, yeah.
It was like, it must have been late or early March, but I remember that did get a theatrical release.
I didn't see it.
I barely even know anything about it, but I remember it came out.
I think it's a basketball movie. If it's not, oops.
I think you're right. I'm pretty sure it is, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure the fan base will come after us and correct us.
Oh, yeah, all the way back. Is it The Way Back, or is it The Way Back?
I think there's another completely unconnected movie that's The Way Back, and there's another The Way Back.
Oh, God.
But I was looking at
all their fans are going to come after us, Evan. What have we done?
I'm bracing myself for their wrath.
Oh, boy. I'm going to get my fingers ready to type responses at everybody that... Never mind. Just go. I just wanted to address sports movies in general.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything nice to say about sports movies, so I don't know how much we want to get into it. They're just kind of... I think they're kind of the worst genre, just by their nature. Which isn't to say that there aren't good ones, but there's no drama to it. And, like, excuse my use of this word, but, like, they're kind of insulting the way that they're made. It feels like it's insulting your intelligence the entire time, where it's like, oh, are they gonna win? I don't know. It's like, dude, shut up. Like, we know. Like, because most of the time it's based on a true story, and they're, like, building up to, like, the drama, the last pitch, and it's like, how dumb do you think we are? That's not the undertone that they're intending. It's always the undertone that I get when I'm watching sports movies. This is an exception. There are some exceptions, but, like, when I see a good sports movie, it's usually kind of an atypical sports movie.
It goes against the grain.
Yeah, like, the few that I like Moneyball is not actually a sports movie. It's a business movie disguised as a sports movie. Or, like, Rush is actually a really good sports movie that I saw recently. But
Fast and Furious?
Yeah, that's what, like, Fast and Furious... I don't want to say it's what it wants to be, but it's the thinking man's Fast and Furious, let's say. But that's something where, like, the stakes are life or death, because they're, like, going at, like, thousands of... Or not thousands, but, like...
millions.
Yeah, they're driving at, like, insanely high speeds, and... They actually do some good character work in that, so, like, I was surprised how much I enjoyed that. Or, like, Cool Runnings is something where it's, like, it's not really about them winning. It's about, like, them proving that, like, they have a place in the Olympics as a bobsledding team. That ending, I feel like, still is pretty good, even though, like, it does ring a bit like a regular sports movie.
I've never seen it.
You know what it is, though, right?
No.
Oh, it's the Jamaican bobsledding team.
Oh, no, I thought you meant the ending. I know what the movie is.
Oh, yeah. Well, spoilers for that. Like, at the end, their, like, sled crashes from a malfunction, but they, like...
No.
Like, they don't die, but they, like, carry their bobsled across the finish line. But, like, up to that point, they've, like, proven that, like, everyone's laughing at the idea of a Jamaican bobsled team because, like, it's Jamaica. And there's no snow there or anything.
Is that why they were laughing at it? Because there's no snow?
Well, it's like the Jamaicans are known for running in the Olympics, and that's kind of the whole premise, is that, like, you can't make a bobsledding team from Jamaica. I don't know how close to reality it is. It feels like they take some liberties, but by the end, it's like
It's like making a swimming team for Texas.
Yeah, kind of like that. But that's kind of a sports movie where it's sort of traditional, but it's also, like, it feels like it was worth watching. Whereas most of the time it's like, all right, are they going to win? I don't know. But, like, you could just look it up. Like, Miracle is kind of hailed as, like, one of the best sports movies out there. But I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but I'm not here for it.
Tell you what did feel like a sports movie, the Last Dance documentary, which is the next topic if you have nothing else on sports movies.
I don't. Well, I'll just add that like sports in real life, I think are really dramatic, which is why it makes sense that they're
Oh, for
like
sure.
made into movies. Like if you have a huge comeback, like that's the most exciting thing ever when you're
Hmm.
watching a real sports game and there's a big comeback. But when you put it in a movie, it's like it takes all the drama out immediately.
It was
So,
game-winning shots.
yeah. I sort of get why people are into him, but I'm not. I think
Hmm.
they are just. I don't think we should make that many of them. It feels like we're making less of them now anyway. But yeah, go ahead with your last dance point.
Last Dance documentary. Okay, so I binged this all 10 episodes in 2 days. I started it one night, went to bed at like 10 in the morning, and then finished it when I woke up the following night. Yeah, that felt like a sports movie. Even though I knew how it would end, listen, I did not know basketball until I started following it at like some point late last year. Like I was on and off, and now I'm paying more attention to it because I have like the current basketball game, NBA 2K21, and like I'm paying attention to like the NBA currently and all that. I don't watch the games. I'm really just here for like what's it, the playoffs. They were building up to the MJ's like first three-peat for like the first three episodes, and I was like, okay, they are taking way too long. I actually don't know how this ended in 1993, so I need to look this up. I looked it up and I was like, okay, I can breathe easy now. And even once I still like saw him hit the game-winning shot, I was still cheering. I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. And then the same thing happened with the 96 to 98. Did another three-peat after he came back from baseball, and I was like, I don't know why. I looked up how this ends, and I'm still happy for them. So that's cool. So yeah, watching that kind of felt like a sports movie, but behind the scenes as well at the same time is crazy. Watching this again after watching the Last Dance documentary made me appreciate some of the clips I saw in the beginning because I recognized them from the documentary. I said this before and understood like the context, like with him, Michael Jordan holding the championship trophy and crying and just rubbing his sweaty forehead on it. Him leaving for baseball, in case you didn't know, kind of discussed it earlier, happened in real life, and he did go back, but it was not because of the Looney Tunes. Crazy, I know, right? And in the documentary, the movie was mentioned, and I think, but I'm not 100% sure, and I was saying this earlier, that even during his filming for this, he had players come to set and play him so he could keep his skills up. So I think at some point during film, either during filming this or before, I don't remember, he had already decided to come back the following year. But like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I could be mistaking this for something else. I do remember at some point during the documentary, players came to wherever he was, and he played like 5-on-5s as hard as he would in. Well, that was just Michael Jordan. As hard as he would, like he was playing a real game. Yeah, The Last Dance.
Is that worth watching all of? I saw the first episode like maybe a month ago,
Mm-hmm.
and just haven't continued it.
I enjoyed it, but I had a personal connection to it, like with Wonder Woman, because Michael Jordan is my dad's favorite basketball player. I was kind of watching it for that, and I was trying to understand his side of the debate, MJ versus LeBron, that debate, and he was like, "It's undisputed. LeBron doesn't even come close as to Michael Jordan." I was like, "Well, why?" Like, I had never seen any Michael Jordan clips. I had never seen any of what was in the documentary before I was questioning that. And I was like, after watching, I was like, oh, yeah, no, I get it. I definitely get it. I don't know if it's worth watching for you.
I just in terms of the LeBron versus Michael Jordan thing, like I think if you actually could like determine who was better in some factual way, like have them in their primes go
Hmm.
1-on-1, that would kind of ruin it. It's more fun to just like
Yeah. But you could also just shut down the LeBron argument by just saying Michael Jordan has more rings. Because I think LeBron just got his fourth last year, and Michael Jordan has six. The man's got a three-peat from 91 to 93. left to play baseball, came back, and freaking did it again before leaving again. Have you done that, Evan?
I don't know enough about either to argue, but
Join your local basketball team and do that real quick for me.
I mean, I have played, but not since middle school.
Can you dunk?
7-foot rims. Actually, maybe like 8. I might be able to dunk on an 8-foot rim. I'm not very tall, so I was way shorter when I did play. It was never really my game, but I have played.
Okay. I don't know if you want to watch it. It's really up to you. I stayed captivated watching it because I did want to know what happened next because there was like drama and all this other stuff. Like I didn't know that happened behind the scenes. It wasn't just about basketball, so that was kind of cool. And the NBA players swear, like it's not censored, and it's really cool because for the longest time, I believe that NBA players didn't swear, like all of them. They just never swore for whatever reason because I never heard them swear. So I was like, oh, they're just pure people. That's cool. I think my dad told me, like, Kevin Garnett, for example, swears like a sailor, and I was like, what are you talking about? I've never heard him say anything like that. And then I just hear Michael Jordan dropping F-bombs left and right in that documentary. I was like, this is awesome. Give it a watch if you want. Like I said, it's not only about basketball, it's about the lives of the players and how important Scottie Pippen is as Michael Jordan's guy.
Sidekick?
I don't want to call him that because I feel like that's disrespecting Scotty. But his guy, and then Dennis Rodman as well. You know, it wasn't just Michael alone, and he says that all the time, and he says that multiple times during the documentary. It wasn't just him that was able to accomplish that. He was I'll just say he was a helping hand in that. Space Jam, no. If you guys have anything you think we should have talked about or want to talk about in the comments, or
that's one thing I'll add: the Bull cameo
Bull?
in the basketball game when they have him like stab the Monstar. They paint.
Oh, was that just a reference to the team?
No. The Bull is like a character in like there's a Looney Tunes short, maybe more than one, but one that I know of where Bugs Bunny faces off against a bull in like a bullfighting ring. It's one of the best ones. Like. Go check it out. I can't think of the name of it, but it's
Bugs Bunny versus Bull.
Yeah, look that up. It's one of the best Looney Tunes things. I was really happy to see the Bull make an appearance.
I thought it was a reference to the team when you just said that. Yeah. Let's get into the boilerplate.
So our next 2 episodes are going to be Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So we're going to do the old one first, Willy Wonka, with Gene Wilder.
The one I've never seen.
Yeah, and I've never seen the remake with Johnny Depp. So we're gonna.
I know about the tunnel scene though. I heard that.
Yeah, that's. We'll talk about it when we get to it. There is a scene in there that I found more upsetting as a kid.
Come with me, and you'll see.
Yeah, we should set aside a little bit of time for the memes in that. Mm-hmm. It's the one big one, but
the one with him leaning on his face.
Yeah. Tell me more about your whatever face. But yeah, those 2 coming up next. So from last year, 2020, we got 1,337 plays. Thank you to all of our listeners.
I did not know it was that many. Appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, I don't know what that is compared to 2019 because we split the stats between Anchor and Libsyn, and I just don't know. But like,
well, let's just say it's a lot more.
It definitely is a lot more. I just don't know how much. But yeah, thank you to everyone who listened. And just, what was your favorite thing that I had you watch from last year, just since we've finished a year of doing podcasts? I'll give my answer for favorite thing you had me watch. Definitely Last Airbender.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. I really liked Ex Machina. I'm not going to say any of the pirates. I'm so sorry.
I would have been surprised if you did.
No, yeah. It's between Goodwill and Ex Machina. I really like the sci-fi element of Ex Machina, so I'm going to say Ex Machina.
Okay. I would have been surprised if you said Goodwill Hunting. But yeah, I mean...
It was close.
I was just curious. But Last Airbender was definitely my favorite of your picks. Yeah.
Homelander video on the way. Working on that.
Okay, yeah. On that note, we also have a video up on A Quiet Place, just got put up a couple days ago. And yeah, we'll have one on other things, including Homelander. in the coming weeks, months, time spans. We also have merchandise. We can make like sweatshirts, stickers, t-shirts, mugs, notebooks, stuff with our logo. So let us know what you'd be interested in.
My whole room is about to be decorated in the logo. I need small hoodies for my parakeets with the logo on it too. So make that happen if you can.
I'll pull some strings. Our logo is by Kelsey Hendry. You can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can follow the show on Twitter at INTAnalysis18. You can follow me on Twitter at Davos Watson. And where can people find you?
Follow me on Twitter at Zelani T. Kelly. I'm on Instagram at Base Phoenix. And I'm on Scribble Hub. If you search Base Phoenix, I have short stories on there. I have a short story I'm working on currently. It's, I think, my most popular. The villain wins from the perspective of a female villain that's going around killing heroes from my Descended story. It's an Elseworld type thing. So that's it's been fun and very gory. Free to read.
So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Peace. Space Jam.